Hey Dee,
Good morning.
how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Awesome. Well, we've got a small group today, and that's okay. Let's talk about the agenda, and we can add any items that anyone wants to talk about. But I think I want to show where I'm at with Canopy and just get you all's feedback and maybe identify some of the different decision points. And then So that's one thing. Maybe talk a little bit around the governance hub, where we're at with that. I think I can probably show a little bit of that as well. What other things would you all will like to put on the agenda?
Well, I like the peek into Canopy. I'm very excited about that. Uh, Also, could you talk about AI Day in the
Oh
end?
yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we can talk about AI Day as well. That's a good one. Let me just put these in the chat. Um, okay. And also I think I'm gonna bring up something that Renat and I have been talking about and get you all's feedback on it. So agenda, we have Canopy, we have Governance Hub, I think AI Day, and also San Francisco Bay Working Group, just as an update on that as well. And then we can talk about the youth component that I've been noodling with Renat about. Okay. All right. Cool. So I'm going to just share my screen and yeah, we can take a look at Canopy. It's coming along. I've learned a lot about AI coding and it's pretty interesting actually. Um it what I'm realizing I heard someone talking about this, but they were saying in the future, all of us, or a lot of us are gonna be um, managing how we bring intelligence to projects. And what they meant is there's many different types of LLM models. So you have the cheap ones, the medium cost ones, the higher end ones. Some of them are reasoning, some of them are just kind of better for straight coding. Uh, And what I'm realizing is it really makes a lot of difference in terms of both costs and time for coding if we with respect to what models you choose. So if you're choosing the high end all the time, you're going to end up spending way too much money, but it will get done quickly. And if if you're always using the low end model, you may never get it working. You might not spend as much, but you will never get it working. And the blend is, well, using the high end model when it makes sense and using the low end models when it makes sense. And so that's what I've realized now, and that has allowed me to really move forward with the project
Dav-
relatively quickly.
Sorry to interrupt, David. Can you turn companion on?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
Let's see, where is that? Why don't I see companion? Oh, hold on. Let me just take off sharing for a second.
At the bottom, to the right of the share button.
To the right. It says host tools.
Yeah. Shh.
And
There should be a little diamond.
um oh I see it. It's up here and up here. Okay.
It's floating somewhere.
It says AI companion is up there, is on.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Great. Thank you. And so we're gonna go back here and I just loaded Canopy. I can show you. So this is an extension And we see here that there's a number of tabs. This is the main thing around Canopy is this idea that you can have many different tabs. And so right here we have a discuss tab, and this is kind of like a Twitter, where you can start a thread. These are all first level threads, and I can react to them. And that is a big question as well. Like, does it make sense to have different types of reactions when we're talking? We're envisioning this being people talking about, well, collaborating on different ideas, kicking around ideas. So it may make sense to have multiple different types of reactions, like, oh, I don't like this. Well, we should have caution. This maybe is pointing out that, oh, well, there's some other information that needs to be linked to this, or a citation, or can't remember what this one was, but I have a question. I'm questioning this, etc. This, I like it. So, uh, would love, over time, I'm wanting to get an idea of whether we should just have a straight, just like, a heart thing, or whether this actually makes sense, having different types of reactions when we're sense making. I guess, yeah, that's the thing. When we're sense making, what kinds of reactions would we want? So that's the one open question that I have. Um, but the point here is that we can essentially, um, we can react, we can bookmark things, we can copy them and open them up in another browser. So this is a share. If I go to another browser, let's see, I'm gonna just go ahead and start a new one. Let's see. So that, yeah, here's a new one actually. And let me close this 1 second. So this is getting confusing. Okay, so here's the other browser. I'm gonna go ahead and just, um, copy the share in here. And so what it's doing is it opened up this particular message that I shared in the extension. Now, if the extension wasn't open and I did this, then it would come and open up a web page, or it should. Okay, well, I guess that isn't quite working now. Okay, so that's something I need to implement. Uh, let's go back to this other one. So anyway, I can reply here to any thread. Reply. This is a reply to thread. I'm just going to go ahead and create one. And you see here, here's the reply. It's coming down here. There's one reply to this is the main one right here. And any replies that we do to this one will come and show below here. And so same functionality of any message. And I can quote them. So I can do a quote message. And then if I go back to the feed, you'll see the quote message up at the top. So here's the quote message. So this is basically a way for us to have conversations on the web page. And the next step will be connecting, being able to select a piece of text and to anchor a message here to that text. And then when you move your cursor here, it would show you that this text is the same, that is the text that this particular message is related to. The other interesting thing about this is visibility. So I can see here that there's another user, and that's the one that we were just on, that, is visible on this same page. They're on google.com as well. So I can hover over here, and uh, there would be, uh, more information, a better headline here, and I could then say, oh, do I know this person? Do I want to know this person? Do I want to friend them, etc. So there's these different options for if I see someone and I want to have a connection with them. I can also, just see them here, see what they've written here, and then decide if I want to friend them from here or message them, etc. as well. We haven't implemented the messaging yet right now, but I want to show you that this does real-time updates as well. So let me go ahead and I'm just going to open both of these for a second.
May I ask questions along the way,
Oh, of
Debbie?
course.
Because
Yeah.
I think when you started showing, I think there was an assumption that, everybody would know where Canopy came from and what it's associated with. So I I love where that begins. So for people listening to this call, they actually know a little bit more context of where you had started before and why you chose Canopy to help uh, pursue some of these governance capabilities that we've been talking about. Also, is the use case that you have now? I mean, I'm just seeing the right hand side before you put the dual screen. Um, that the public square is without any activity going on, presentation or anything like that. There's this ability to just see who's available to have a conversation or chat or something like that to connect people without necessarily context. Is that what we're seeing first and foremost?
Public Square
Yeah.
is a community, and you're able to select a primary community and also have other active communities. In this particular case, we have both communities active. Let's see, this
So
one,
the
same
so
thing.
the assumption is that you would just enter a public square and then you can drill down if there's topical communities that you want to be more intimately involved with. Is that right?
Yeah, if
Okay.
so, well, these will be communities that you've already joined. And so you can select which one's your primary community. So if you're creating a reply or you're making a post, it will go automatically to your primary community unless you change it. And then if you want to, you can select your other communities to be active in, and that will determine what's shown in the messages. So if I have both these selected, then the messages from both communities that I'm active in will be selected. But if I take this one out, it will remove the governance circle messages. And same thing with visibility. With visibility, if I come here with visibility,
It'll stripe it. Okay.
it will depend on what communities I'm active in.
I
And
see.
to back up, so Canopy is very similar to a project that we had been working on in 2021, 2022, 2023, and we called it Presence Browser. And it actually had a section called Canopy, which was these two pieces together. And that project, we lost control of the code. Basically, we had a business partner that was the technology services provider, and they got rolled up into a larger business, and we had a arrangement with them. We actually started a company with them, and because they got rolled up, they basically saw our project completely different. And from that point on, they wouldn't let us have access to the code. So that was in 2023. Now we're 2026. We're rebuilding it. We're doing it on our own. I'm working with one intern, and we call it canopy because if you think about the canopy of a tree, if you're up in the canopy, then you can look down. And so we're thinking of this in this same way, like we're over the content layer of the web and we're looking down from the canopy. So the canopy is like something you go up into, and then there could be other people in the canopy. You can have conversations with them. So these are the conversations in the canopy that are above this web page, google.com. And so anyone who goes to google.com who's either part of the public square or the governance circle, that these are just the two made up communities that we have so far, our testing communities, they they would see these same messages because these are public square messages. And same thing with visibility, they would see the people who are in the public square, and as it turns out, it's just so you see this is this one right here. You see the correspondence, and then you see the correspondence here. So we're seeing each other, right? Now I want to show you the real-time updates because this is the fun part. I come both to the messages in them, and we just created this message. Now we're gonna bookmark it. So you see it here. It says a one here because that's I did increment the number of bookmarks, and you see that it's active here. And you see over here, now there's a one. And if I come over here and select a reaction question, so I'm questioning this. Oh, well, something regressed. It was working before. A one should show up here as well. And I'm sure if I let's see what happens if I
Let's
reload it.
refresh.
Yeah, let's see what happens. I shouldn't have to do that. It should
Yeah.
just work just like the bookmarks one. Um, okay, so anyway, there's a bug there, but I can also go do a reply, another reply here, and you see that. So I've added a reply, and it's showing up here as well.
Yeah.
Uh, not sure that I want it to automatically take you out of that, but the key thing that I was thinking that it would do was it would just add the one here. So a couple little bugs here or there. We're early with this, but at least it's generally working. So it's exciting. Uh, the most exciting thing about this to me is this notion of managing. And these actually aren't working right now. Rooms, people, agent. Actually, the intern has made these, and we're going to be integrating them in. Timelines hasn't been done either. But what you might have noticed is that the menu up here changed. So
Yeah.
rather than having all of them, like if I put that one, rooms comes back. Now I removed it because it's not there, right? So we've looked at discuss, visibility, and settings, and also manage now. But we can also see our different settings. This is inactive at the moment, but it says whether you want to be visible. If you don't want to be visible at the moment, then if you go to the visibility tab, it's not going to show anything because to be able to see other people, you have to be visible as well. So I have to say, oh, okay, yeah, I'll go visible. And now I can see again. Uh, and so I need to fix this. It is not tracking the correct status right here, but you'll be able to change the status and it will change up here. There's here's the color of so basically you're able to change the aura of your particular icon. You see it's changing. Can't really see it that well, but this is the aura. So this is a transparent one. Actually, let me make it a little bit easier to see. I don't like that for this one. I need something more light. So I'm going to come over here. Oh, that looks a lot better. So yeah, so you see it changed, and it will also change here. Oh, well, not yet. Okay. Something's off. But anyway, um, so I can change that here, and then I can change from dark to light theme. I can change my headline, my display name. Um, and as I was saying, you can manage these. Then we're going to basically have an app store so that you can pull in new tabs that will now you'll be able to add to your manage, and you can have your own set of tab applications or applications that run in a tab on this sidebar. And so what could that be? Well, we've already said there's a bunch of other ones that we want to make, but the real point here is that we're making this so that anyone can make their own little tabs, their own tablications and add them to to this um, Canopi substrate, and then other people can come along and use their tabs, use their tablications. So this is where I'm at right now. Our next step is to add this SDK, basically a way for people to add their own tabs and also to create smart tags. Oh, yeah. I didn't know that was done or started, but basically to create their own smart tags that would be able to interact with the tab applications. Any questions about this? Is this making sense? Do people, get what we're trying to do here and the purpose?
I I
Yes.
I do think it's making sense, David. I would offer a few more suggestions just to kind of guide the listeners on how we present this, maybe use case driven. Uh, but that I can provide to you later.
Okay, yeah,
But
that's a good point for sure. So more like, okay, so and so wants to find out about something. They go to this page, they see, and they want to interact with the other people in their community around it. And here are some different ways for them to do that.
yeah, just engagement points, because we're not in this perfect world where we start the conversation all at the same time. We jump in at different points, and maybe we should make sure we can cover that whole range of possibilities of engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally makes sense. So so anyway, yeah, that's where we're at right now with Canopy. I'm feeling pretty happy about it just because I was stuck for a while because I was trying to use all these low end models, and since I've invested a little bit of money into the compute, which wasn't too much, it's enabled me to actually move much closer to being able to deploy software. So we're looking at being able to have people on this next month trying this out. All right. So any questions or thoughts about Canopy before we move on?
Uh, just one last bit. I can see our community, this leadership group, actually communicating and annotating the conversations we're having directly on there. So I look forward to us shifting from like our classic tools to actually utilizing and prototyping the capabilities that you're showing us.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And one of the things that we're going to do is make a web embed SDK. And what that essentially means is that we're going to set this up so that someone can put 3 lines of code into the HTML of their website, into the head of their website, and that will enable that particular domain to have all the functionality of this extension without anyone having to install the extension. So then what we could do is then put it on the GovHub, and we could use this instead of Hypothesis as, for example, um, as the way to have conversations about the specific documents on the GovHub. So let's let's go over to the governance hub. Where is that? Okay, here it is. All right. And we're not going to go all the way through this, but this is just wanting to look and see where we're at right now. Just show you guys. Let's see. Okay. And so this is a look at the development server for the governance hub. And I'm we've made some changes. It's kind of in process right now, but the idea here is that any entity that we're going to be bringing onto the hub, we're going to call it a layer. And if I click here, you'll see the layers that we've already created. And this is not looking the way I would want it to look, obviously. Um, it's squishing this image and showing too much text. But so we've set up several different layers. So there's the MetaLayer working group. This is the San Francisco Bay chapter working group. Then Canopi, and we also have the Overweb and the MetaWeb, and these all kind of work together if you think about it. So the MetaWeb is the space above the web page. That's the entire space. And when we're speaking from the standpoint of somebody working on the MetaWeb, our main thing to focus on is the desirable properties. That was a challenge that Vince Cerf, the co-founder, co-inventor of the internet, he came to our kickoff meeting, and he was the featured speaker, and he suggested that our next step, and this was about a year and a half ago, was to define the desirable properties of a meta layer. And so that's what we want to do if we're working on the meta web. The overweb is a, a community that's actually building the first full instantiation of a meta layer. And what that entails is us coming together as a community and defining the minimum viable layer or the minimum viable meta layer. Like what are the things that we say are absolutely non-negotiable that we want to work the paradigm or framework that we want to work in for this one layer that we're creating. And I would submit to you there are things like data sovereignty, transparency, community governance, um, and many other things in digital rights that we care about, privacy, et cetera, that will be the minimum. There'll be minimum, basically the minimum set of requirements to be part of this larger overweb community. And then Canopy, on the other hand, is the first over web application. So Canopy will adhere to the judgments we collectively make about what belongs in the overweb. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay. And then the MetaLayer working group is it's essentially a working group within the San Francisco Bay chapter of ISOC. And I think it's officially being formed tonight, but we've already got the go ahead for it. And this working group is going to enable us to get beyond the net grants from ISOC. And I'm not sure how much it will be, but we're talking tens of thousands of dollars. And so that's going to allow us to have a much greater capacity than we would otherwise, um, as an unfunded project so far. And then so these are the layers, and then we can you'll see that there's some other different navigation items. So there's roles. Any layer can have roles. We've got a bunch of layers that are already submitted. Um, these are just test ones at the moment, and these are things that we're discussing still right now. Uh, I'm not sure if you all saw it, but FASA put together some additional materials, and I was hoping that he might come and discuss those today. But he had some other suggestions for roles. Once we zone in on a specific set of roles that we agree with as a community, then we'll go ahead and upload these to production and people can start taking them. We also have work groups. So there'll be work groups for each of the different desirable properties. For example, there's a multimodal interoperability and participant experience working group. There's a roadmap and milestones working group. There's a bunch of them for all there's 21 desirable properties. And also there's a governance working group, which is looking at how this platform, this governance hub works. People will be able to form guilds. Guilds operate independently of what layers. Well, they work with layers, but a guild is not owned by a layer. A guild can work in many different layers. Same thing with people. And so we have we'll essentially have a way for you to look up and see who's been participating in the system, and then we'll also have a way of messaging them at a certain point. Uh, there's the capacity to create waiting lists. So someone could create a waiting list for a specific project, and this would enable essentially the projects to bring people on to the project in early stages. So they just essentially sign up, and then as the project is progressing and adding new functionality, et cetera, they can transition them from being on the waiting list to actually using the software. And this is specifically really useful for projects like Canopi. So very soon, we're going to go ahead and open up the beta access waiting list for Canopi, and people will be able to sign up. Another piece of this is imagery. So anybody can submit images for other people to judge, and people can come on and say whether they like images or not. And then ultimately these images will be used for layers, for roles, for work groups, for guilds, for wait lists, and yeah, no, I think that's it. So there's a lot of different uses for imagery, and what we've essentially created is a way for people to contribute images and for people to say what images they like, and we'll essentially have a process for an image to be set for a role or a work group or a layer. And then where this all started was documents, right? These MetaLayer drafts that are the foundational elements of governance uh, for the different layers. So any layer can have people working in guilds or on their own to submit a document, and that document can then be commented on by anyone. And yeah, but you gotta, I guess you gotta to sign in. I'll go ahead and sign in. Let's see. Any questions about this so far?
I had one question on that suggested material on the roles. Where can we access that?
I'll put this link here, and just keep in mind that these are not we haven't fully agreed on these all being the roles, because FASA did come up with some suggestions. And okay, so where can we see his suggestions on roles? Let me find that. I'll put his link. Oh, actually, it wasn't him. It was Sarah, I think. Let's see. Okay. Just getting his information. Okay. So where is that? Okay. Hmm. Mm, okay, 1 second. Hmm. Oh, there it is. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Just putting this in chat right now.
Thank you.
There you go. And Salwa, were you wanting the role, the original Google Docs, or you were speaking to the roles as they are in this development server on the GovHub?
Um, I was referring to what we discussed last week. So Fasa was
Okay.
going to share for feedback, and then you mentioned that maybe there's a next gen of those ideas somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I just posted was his ideas around that. And
Great.
I I think that there's still a little bit of I'm just looking for the roles, the initial link that I had sent out. Um, but I think the one thing that I'm hoping to get from him is a what do you call it? Basically an understanding of how the transformation he's suggesting would change the specific roles that have already been identified. Because I think he's speaking of changing some of the names and things like that. And that's the next step that would be needed. I'm gonna,
Okay.
yeah, okay. I'm gonna just see if I can find the old document, the link to the old document as well, so that we have that accessible. Okay. Is that it? Hmm. Oh, here it is. Okay. All right. And so this is the original document for anyone who wanted to see that and be able to compare them.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's great.
Awesome. All right, what's next on our agenda? So we had AI Day, San Francisco. It is, what day is that? Is it March 13th? Yeah. So on March 13th, there's going to be AI Day, San Francisco, and we've got a website. This is coming out of the San Francisco Bay chapter of ISOC. I'll share this now. And so here it is. Here's the AI Day. Let's go look at the details and see what's happening. So it is where it doesn't even say the date. Maybe it said the date on the previous page. Yeah, March 13th, 9 to 5. And here's the set, the run of show. You can see here, I'm here at 2:45 to 3:15, and we're gonna actually have Dee in this with me as well. We're gonna be talking about where AI safety is right now and talk about the emerging do I want to say threats? No, I won't say threats, but just the circumstances, the situations that we're seeing occur right now with some of these personal AI bots like OpenClaw and the social coordination that's happening on Moltbook. So we're gonna presence kind of the state of the AI industry and AI safety. And then we're gonna talk about different scenarios of where we can go from here. And the two interesting lever points that I was thinking of for this scenario analysis were AI alignment. So are we aligned with AI in the future or unaligned? And then the second part would be, are humans aligned or unaligned? So are we as are we in alignment with the AI? Yes or no? And are we in alignment with each other? Yes or no? And the answer to both of them right now is no. And the question is, are we going to move into alignment with AI? And are we going to move into alignment among humans? And that gives us a two by two matrix, and we're going to explore that. The most exciting square in that matrix is obviously uh, uh, AI is aligned with humanity, and humanity is internally aligned with itself. And that I I would submit to you is the convergent consciousness that Teilhard de Chardin was talking about in the 1920s. And so um, that also is very much aligned to the work that Dee and I have been doing around the AI noosphere. And Dee will give an update. So we're going to talk about the different quadrants, for AI alignment, yes or no, and human alignment, yes or no. And the yes, 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 AI aligned, yes, humanity aligned, that particular square that's when Dee is going to talk about our project that brings together this notion of a new sphere from Teilhard de Chardin, the uh, the emergence of AI, and the meta layer work. We'll I think we'll have an update for about 5 minutes or so from Dee on that, and I will get you put on this page as well, Dee. And so this again is the San Francisco Bay chapter, and the next step with that chapter is actually seeking a grant, a beyond the net grant. So that's what's coming up and exciting. It will probably take at least 8 weeks from when we submit it, and I believe that we won't be able to submit it for another month because they want to survey the chapter and see if there are other people who are looking for their projects to get funded. I'm pretty sure that we will get funded, but I just don't know. It will be something between 20,000 and 40,000 probably. Uh, Remains to be seen. We'll know sometime in the next month. All right. So, Fasa, I see that you made it in here. I saw your message earlier. Good to see you. Did you want,
Apologies.
how are you?
I'm great. Just had a really great meeting with some people that I think are going to support this work, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm excited. The meeting went over like an hour over, actually. Like it was like just great. But I apologize for not making it in here sooner. I know that there were some things that we wanted to be able to discuss, like the comments around being able to look at the different like clusters, for the roles for the MetaLayer related work and stuff, and looking at how the many roles that it is that we do have, how they might fit into the what it is that I had proposed as a way to maybe like truncate some of those roles into like different places and to start thinking about the phases and stuff that, everybody would be able to participate in. But um yeah, I hope to be able to go into more detail about the meeting that I was just in over the next like maybe over the next week or two here, but it's about really making sure that um there are communities that are out there that are excited about the work that we're doing and bringing it into like their daily use. It's like the utility of what this represents as a platform. Like this, there's nothing like the meta layer. Like there's nothing like it. And when people hear it the right way, I don't always say it the right way, but when people do hear it the right way, their imagination runs wild and they start talking about how it could. And that's something that David says all the time is like, well, how could it work for you? And even the average person that's out there that's not thinking that they have a place in this AI world, all this tech and stuff that's happening, when they hear how the meta layer functions and how it's about empowering communities, then they can see how they can actually connect to this stuff that's happening around them in a different way. They're like, oh, well, we need that right now. I could use that for this and I could use that for that. I'm like, right on. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So it's nice. It was great to be on that call, and to be armed with the conversations that I've had in this room with everybody here and the great work that's taken place. And I will be looking to update that document later today. I'll share that information in there. Any other commentary is also welcome. And I'm sure I missed a lot, but I'm here now.
Did you want to speak to what this latest iteration did, or what you learned, or how your thinking has evolved since last time? Completely
You,
optional.
are you talking about the Google document?
Yeah, what you
Yeah.
presented something last week, and then you went in and you refined some things. People were resonating with what you were talking about last week. So if you want to, you could speak to, what has evolved in your thinking, or we can wait until next time. It's up to you.
Well, I mean, I have taken some steps when I thought about the time commitment side of it. It's because I want to make sure that what it is that I'm doing is a part of my daily routine. Like I actually want to have this like the meta layer the meta layer is more than a discussion to me. It's becoming what it's like it's kind of like a part of a lifestyle that I'm living. And so I think that looking at these different roles and stuff, they should fit kind of like the lifestyles that people have and are living right now so that it's not something that's cumbersome. Yeah, there should be commitment and a deep level of commitment to the work, but there's a certain part of this that should feel like, well, yeah, I'm trying to add this thing to my life. And so I started thinking about how these roles and stuff fit into people's lives and how it's something that, when you're collaborating with other people, it's almost therapeutic. That was one of the things that I got from the MetaLayer Week or Meta Week. I'm not sure if I'm saying which one it was called, but was that, and I actually had this conversation with Sarah. It's just like, some certain conversations are therapeutic. And this is one of them. And I think that if people are coming into this work and facilitating in these roles and stuff, there should be some sense of, if it's not empowerment, like maybe just a quick dopamine hit that makes you feel good about what it is that you're doing. And, having, yeah, so that's one thing. The other thing was like thinking about what are the short milestones that can happen in each of those roles because sometimes if you do stuff and you work into oblivion, even if you are having progress, if you're not reaching goals in that progress, then sometimes people don't feel like they've like reached what the next thing is. So that's something that I've thought about a little bit more in my thinking since creating the document is like, okay, what do milestones look like across the different sections that these many roles would fit in. So like what would like uh a milestone that you would hope to reach after like a couple weeks or after, but like just things like that I think would be really helpful and useful too. So Still kind of abstract, but I'm sure that whenever I'm able to commit more neurons to it and my metacognitive load isn't crazy, I'll be able to uh probably contextualize it and express it in a more eloquent way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. The one other thing I wanted to bring up is that I've been in a conversation with Renard about how to bring young people into this. And this is just an idea. I'm going to share something, and I would just love to hear your immediate reactions. I mean, what the first thoughts on it. And I'm going to do that right now. And I hope that people will either speak up or write what they think in the chat. So here we go.
It feels like some fantasy world building happening, um, which I'm 100% into. Um, I want to ask how young we're trying to go to understand if this is hitting that. Like I can see this sort of fantasy stuff in like that maybe mid-20s. Are you trying to go younger than that?
Yeah. I think probably 13, 14 would be the
Okay.
younger age.
Okay.
In anyone else have any response to this?
Um, I'm wondering, early in my life, early in the process, uh, early how?
Good question. It's meant that in this process that we're suggesting, which is the is basically adding a new layer onto the web. That's what we're speaking to being early to.
And civic Mason means building new civic infrastructure for distributed democracy and social justice.
I mean, it's not a
But
word that people use, but we put those two words together in a way that hasn't been used before, really. But that sounds, does that what it speaks to you, Civic Mason? What you just said?
well, I'm not a native speaker. To me, Mason sounds like Freemason. But if a native speaker sees Mason and thinks, "Oh, I'm building something, how cool!" Then okay.
So did you go down the conspiratorial, or did Civic stop that?
I went down some kind of secret society. Plus, there's a
Okay.
door, and maybe that there's a lock on the door or something. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else have any reactions to it? We're not necessarily completely tied to this. It's just we're just experimenting at the moment and trying to find things that would be inspiring for young people. And the idea would be, they would click through and it would take them to some initial tasks that they would be able to complete. We're thinking about a task where you map a problem and potential solution in your community. Uh, that would be one. Number two would be mapping and a potential solution on the web, something that's not working on the web right now that affects affects you and coming up with an idea of how that could be improved. And then the third one would be to start a learning group or learning cohort around you know building the next layer of the web. So there'd be these three relatively easy things. And if you completed any of those three, you would get a Civic Mason badge. And that badge would then uh, enable you to start collecting uh, other 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 types of badges associated with the different roles that you take on. But this could be the starting point. Maybe this is just the starting point for young people. It could be as well. We haven't decided on this, but this is just the direction that we've been playing around with so far.
David,
Any? Mm-hmm.
I just sent this to my son, who's 14, to see. I'm like, I can speak all I want, but I'm not 14 years old, so I do not know how it's gonna land for a 14-year-old. Um, while he thought it was cool, he was like, "Oh, is this some sort of like gaming thing?" He was trying to guess it in that way, but was still pretty confused. He was like, "I don't know." He's like, "I'm not
Okay.
sure." It wasn't landing for him. So those were his. That was his feedback.
But the curiosity about it being some kind of gaming thing is
Mm-hmm.
that's
Right.
actually
Right.
perfect in a way, I
Mm-hmm.
think. Because it isn't a game, but it is a game, right? In a way, where you can do things and get badges. I mean, it is a game, but it's not a game. I mean, it's not a game in that this is something we really need to do, but we're doing it in a way that's very similar to how games work, where you do a quest and you get a badge, that type of thing. So, um, okay, well, no, that's great. Any other thoughts on this? We're,
Yeah, I was just gonna say for me it was competing in two ways. In one way, it looked like, oh man, like they're opening up the door to like a new, like maybe like a new opportunity. But then on the other side of it was on the wall, those torches kind of gave off the Freemason secret society type of thing and stuff like that. So I kind of got two vibes out of it. Like one was the future and the other one was the past. It's like so it was an interesting feeling about it. But the concept of a civic Mason, if you just read it, it did kind of remove the secret society stuff if I didn't have these other visual cues to go along with it. Like the visual cues kind of lead me towards the secret society stuff. But
okay.
it's probably a generational thing, as you get older and stuff, and you know what you hear about what different things are. It probably feeds that.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. Sarah just said, will a team think of Freemason? That's why I initially sent that reaction privately to David, not to bias the group. But I think that mapping a problem and a potential solution in your community as a task is phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think we just need to ask some more. I mean, the the thing is we need something somewhat distinctive, and the reason why we were thinking about a mason, because historically masons are the ones who built things. And so we're
Hmm.
talking about building something infrastructural. And they're the ones who built cathedrals. And what's interesting with that is that they built things that they knew would not be finished in their lifetime. And that's what we're talking about as well when we talk about building the overweb. I mean, the thing never ends, right? I mean, we're building it in a way where anybody can build new bricks and new smart tags and new applications and new ways of using this ad infinitum. I mean, it doesn't ever stop. So in a way, it is similar to building a cathedral, where we're building like a digital cathedral, not in a religious standpoint, but in the standpoint of something that is intended to be useful, hold knowledge, hold beauty, and to last forever. So that's
Yeah, David, I think a pyramid uh,
uh-huh.
in the same way. I mean, if you look at the architecture, the very solid foundation that's built on, and it has this timeless quality and lasting intrigue. Uh, it's still a challenge for people today to kind of figure out how they came up with all that.
True.
It's pretty awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Sarah put
Yeah.
in the chat that she would send it to you know, I don't know if you should read the chat probably,
Oh,
but
that's
just like
great.
that.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll can let me see if I can upload this image so you all can grab it and feel free to put it in front of people and give us some feedback. I think that'd be amazing.
Can you say the define the term again, civic mason? I just want to hear it again from your
Someone who's building the next level of the internet.
like a
We're making it
builder.
up, right? It's
Yeah,
not a term
yeah.
that's used by anyone. If you search, it does come up, but it comes up in the context of someone saying, "I really love your civic, Mason." Mason is a person.
Wow.
So I don't think the terms have ever really been pulled together before. But yeah, it's somebody who's building the digital infrastructure of the future.
I think it's cool that you said they built cathedrals and then Dee just said pyramids, and you can just see like historically these are different time periods that are still bridged by masons, you know, or whatever that like people that built things, you know, if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
interesting.
And I mean, if we so this interesting to think about how pyramids can like how would we do this differently if we wanted to use the pyramids as a marker? That would be I'd be interesting to see um, if something comes through
It
around that
has
as well.
been iconic and used in so many different contexts and imagery. And so has Mason. I feel like I need to go and do some research on that so we can have an appreciation for all the different interpretations of that and whether it it proves and tests the timelessness that we're looking for and the significance that will endure. And I think we can do both tests for those terms.
Yeah, yeah. And um, well, I think we need to be yes, doing that work and coming up with coming up with some ideas about how to express this. What do people come? And maybe it is Civic Mason or maybe it's not, but yeah, if in the next week you all can come come up with some thoughts and ideas around this, that would be awesome. Okay. Well, are there any other things, any other thoughts around this before we set off?
No, I thank you again, David, for channeling all these topics in 1 hour. I am looking forward to replaying it because I had to bow out for a little bit, and I apologize for not having my full attention on this one. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks, Dee. We'll get the recording out pretty shortly. So, all right. Sounds great. Hey, I appreciate you all coming through and providing your comments. It's really helpful. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, everyone.
Thank you, bye.
Wow.
Go Meta.
Huh.
Go Meta.